What is up, Rave Raid fam? Welcome to another episode of the Rave Raid podcast with your host, Tyler Hardy. And as always, I just want to take a moment to express my overwhelming love and gratitude for each and every one of you guys who tune in and listen on a daily and weekly basis with the intention of everything that we do here at Rave Raid to assist you in becoming the most self-actualized and self-loved version of yourself, because that's what the world needs right now. It needs you living in your full power and capabilities, so that way we can solve a lot of the problems that we're experiencing together as a collective. And my job is to assist you in that process in any way that I can. And so hopping into today's episode, the thing that I want to talk about is state management and how important it is to be in control of your emotional states, because we live in a world that has a lot of distractions and things that are designed to emotionally tie you up and cause you to place a lot of your attention and energy around, certain topics and matters that really detract from your quality of life if you allow it to over a period of time. And I'll explain some of the things that I've done to really help with, one, becoming more of the observer of my reality versus the one that's playing part in it. And then two, some of the things that I do on a daily basis that help me with state management, so that way I can stay consistent and start compounding more of those wins on a daily basis for myself, so that way I can keep getting more and more of what I want out of life and what I desire to create. And I'm telling you that you can do the same exact thing as well. To give you a little bit of a backstory and let you know kind of like where I've come from with this, is I used to be hyper reactive to every single thing that was going on in my life. If something didn't go the way that I expected it to, or I try to control an outcome, or something didn't go my way, it would just completely throw me off. It'd ruin my day, it'd ruin my week. It'd carry over into all the other things that were going on into my life. And it was causing me to not be in control of my own reality and not be in control of my emotional states, which was detracting from who I was as a person. It was zapping my energy. It was causing me to be very scattered and disoriented and not grounded, and causing me to really not get a whole lot done when I was younger, just because I attribute a lot of that to childhood trauma. But on top of that, in regards to trying to control outcomes and trying to control my reality to the point where, I tried to logistically map everything out, that it had to be a certain way. And if it wasn't a certain way, then things would get messed up and life was ruined. And I'm here to tell you that if I can go from that state of allowing fear and anxiety and lower vibrational frequency to control who I was as a human being, then you can completely, no matter where you're at, make change for yourself. And you can gain more of a grasp on what you can control, what you can't control, how you interface with creation, how you're able to start really stepping into those higher levels of existence that I know are possible for each and every one of us. And so that's how I know that you can do this. Everything that I share in this podcast isn't, me just always being this way. It's one of these things where I'm sharing all of these experiences of how I've changed and what modalities I use to change, because that's the whole purpose of what I'm doing here. Is I'm trying to bring all of the most valuable information that I've experienced over the past 3, 4, 5 years into one podcast that has a bunch of tactical information that you can start implementing and integrating on a daily basis to get more of what you want out of your human experience, whether that's to be healthier, whether that's to have better boundaries with your relationships, whether that's to find something that you're passionate about and that you actually want to pursue with all of your time and effort, more money, more freedom, whatever it is that you're desiring for yourself. I'm pretty confident that there's something in this podcast that is going to help you with achieving that. And you're going to be able to take it and grab the things that are valuable and integrate those things, and discard the things that are not useful, and start having your own spin on it and being able to really get down to finding the things that work well for you. I'm just trying to help you change that paradigm in which you're viewing it through. And so kind of getting into it, like I was mentioning before, I was one of those people who was very reactionary to everything that was going on in my external environment. And I would attribute that to, my central nervous system definitely not being in optimal shape. So if you're one of those people that's very reactive and very, edgy and very, worried and trapped in anxiety or fear or depression or anything like that, there's a good chance that your central nervous system could use a little bit of love and TLC And the way that I've been able to give it the most love possible is through adopting a meditative practice and really calming my mind, calming my body, integrating that with breath work as well, and using breath work to help relax the ANS, so then that way we can start calming the central nervous system down, so then that way we're not manifesting from a place of anxiety or worry or fear or lack, which is something that I was doing for a long time. And it was keeping me from really stepping into, where we're heading with everything, because of the fact that, you can only go so far vibrationally. You can only draw in so many experiences from a diminished place. So, that's what I'm getting at. The importance of this is that if you want to create something significant in your life for yourself, or even just more happiness, you've got to take good care of the body. You've got to make sure that your central nervous system is regulated and that you are not in a state of fight or flight all the time, which most people are for one reason or another, whether it's childhood trauma, substances, stimulants, fear, worry, anxiety, depression as a byproduct of those things, adrenal fatigue, you name it. It's one of those things where, if you're creating from that place, you're going to keep getting more of the same. Whereas if you take good care of your body and your central nervous system, you're going to be able to maintain a better state management. And when we can maintain better state management, we can start consciously choosing what it is that we want for ourselves. Does that make sense? Do you follow what I mean by making sure we're regulating our central nervous system? Because all we are is water and electricity. And so, if our CNS is misfiring and incoherent, we're going to get a lot of incoherence in our life. We're going to get a lot of people that validate that chaoticness or that anxiety or that fear or that worry. And I can speak firsthand on that is very factual. And it takes a lot of awareness to recognize like how you're actually creating this part of your reality, how it's reflecting back to you. And so it's important to make sure that we take good care of our physical health, so that way our CNS is in a place where it's calm and relaxed and in a flow, because that's where all the magic happens on a daily basis. And so state management's important because, you wake up every single day. I wake up with a plan on how I'd like my day to go. I focus on manifesting that day. And inevitably, there are going to be situations and things that pop up that, throw you off course, or are less than ideal information that you're getting. And instead of allowing that thing to completely dominate you and take over your mind and cause you to step into those lower frequencies and get your central nervous system all fired up, you're able to look at it and observe it. And once you become the observer and there's a level of detachment from what it is that you're experiencing outside of yourself, you are able to start seeing quicker and easier solutions, because you understand and have a good understanding for the fact that your health and regulating your central nervous system is so important to maintaining a high level of vitality and health, that you choose not to place your energy in the worry and fear of it. You choose not to engage with that person who is trying to either pull you into a lower vibrational frequency or reaffirm you of a past version of yourself that you no longer are. And it allows you to realize that, your well-being, happiness, and peace is the most important thing. And when we choose not to engage, that's when the healing happens. That's when the change can happen, because you're no longer playing a part in that role. Now, inevitably, if there are things that you have to deal with, like if there's something that pops up for RAVER, the benefit of making sure that we have great state management is being able to look at the situation objectively and not allow emotion to cloud decision making. So then that way, we're not making knee-jerk reactions. We're able to look, and have good foresight and say, okay, what's the ramifications of each decision that we're going to make here? What's the clear and obvious thing to do? Even if you don't have all the information or the surety that you need, you're able to tap into, your gifts, your intuition, your knowingness, feel into your body and your heart and make the right decision for yourself. And so that's really what I'm getting at, is that when we really take good care of our body and we have great state management with ourselves, it allows us to access those higher faculties of our potential as humans, things that don't get talked about, really anywhere, when it comes down to some of these latent gifts that people have that are so beautiful and can really help them make great decisions in their life. And I can speak firsthand, being calm and more present has allowed me to see, a lot more potential or solutions in a much easier way than I used to. which has saved me a lot of headache and time and frustration on the other end of it, because I feel that I'm always choosing the right things to do, and if I'm not, then I'm learning from those things in a very constructive way. So that way I can move on to the next thing. And you can be doing the same thing for yourself as well and save yourself a lot of time and frustration and agitation or whatever it is that you experience that's on the lower end of the vibrational spectrum. And you can actually start, interfacing with something greater than yourself and start getting more of the things that you want out of your experience. And so some of the things that I do on a daily basis to help with my state management, and this is the things right here that are going to help you with getting to this state of being able to really control what you can control in your day-to-day. And when things come up that are, not part of the plan, you're able to easily solve those challenges or problems or issues and get back on course because you have a high level of awareness, which is what I'm really wanting to teach every single person who listens to this podcast, is that your awareness level is the direct indicator of what your life is going to end up being. And so things that I do on a daily basis, I wake up every day and I meditate, breath work, journal, and I write down my 5 main goals. And then I write below that, words of affirmation, or I write down, how I'm feeling. Once I do the breath work and meditation, and I do not get up from my meditation cushion until undoubtedly I believe and know that every single thing that I am working on is going to happen. I do not allow myself to get up. I do not allow myself to, drift off. I really focus on those things that I'm desiring to bring in and becoming a vibrational match with those things. And then I write about them. I journal about those things. That's the first thing I do. Then I immediately jump into the cold plunge. And the reason I do that is because that tends to be the most challenging thing of the day, I would say. And it's really not even that challenging. It's just the mind's story that it tells you that it's challenging. But more of what I'm getting at as I do that, because when I do, cold therapy and hyperthermic conditioning, which is sauna use, what it does is it creates this range of physical stressors, hormetic stressors, and that my body needs to adapt to. And when that happens is when I go to those extreme ranges of temperature, it increases my stress response. It helps me with being able to handle more things on a daily basis and more projects and not, get sucked into the day-to-day stress and the monotony of life. I have a lot of energy, I have a lot of focus because those things require a lot from me to be able to, sit in a 38-degree cold plunge and then immediately go get into a 215-degree sauna, after that. And I do it for the health benefits, and the health benefits are great as a byproduct, but it's really more for me about focus and helping bring myself into a place of great state management. Because when you're at those temperature extremes, you have to have great state management, because if you don't, your mind's going to run crazy. You're going to want to disassociate. You're going to want to check out. You're going to want to avoid. You're going to want to, succumb to, the subconscious mind panicking, right? And you don't allow yourself to do that, which means that when things come up that are inside that range, whatever's going on throughout the day, it's an easy solution, generally speaking. And that's why I do those things. That's really the main benefit above all else. But state management's important. Like I watch myself lose a lot of time and energy into things and people that, didn't serve for my highest good. And I allowed that to happen because I had less awareness around state management. The more that you can control your state, the more that you can control the outcomes that you desire for yourself, or at least, appropriating your energy towards those things that are going to help you create the life that you want to live, because that's, the biggest thing is the awareness level. If you don't have the awareness level around what needs to change and what you need to place your energy and focus on, you're not going to be able to get more of the things that you want. And that's, the beauty of healing and growing and evolving, is that as you keep doing those things, it becomes so easy to identify what things are good for you and what things are, destructive for you. And, if you're mixing, like I talked about yesterday, that focus with a proper belief system, that's where you're able to create magic for yourself, because that focus is what's going to help you really channel all of your energy towards what it is that is actually meaningful to you. And if you have a belief system that you're worthy of having the best things, or that you love yourself and you're going to do the things that are challenging on a daily basis, that's when you start actualizing the best version of yourself. And so that's what I really want you to take away from this episode, is that really focusing on state management is very important. and becoming the person who observes the reality versus the person who gets sucked into unnecessary dramas or challenges or things that are not for your highest good, is really going to pay off in the long run, whether that be your physical health, your mental health, your relationships, the amount of time that you have to work on the things that are important to you or things that you enjoy, your spiritual life, how deep you're able to tap into, whatever gifts it is that you have, whether that be, intuition, precognition, could be a number of things. I think we all have different gifts that are special that we don't really even realize that we have fully until you start really developing them and start realizing that they are massive assets for you. So it's an opportunity for you to learn what those gifts are for yourself. And then also just being able to observe how much the universe is actually doing for you, how much it's working to actually make things work out in your favor, and how it's doing all these different things to help you actualize what it is that you're meant to do here, and that you're not alone, and that you're being supported and guided in so many ways. It just takes the right set of eyeballs looking at the experience to recognize that everything has been working out for you from the get-go, and it's always going to be working out for you in your highest good and with what's meant to be happening. So I'm going to wrap up today's episode. It's a pretty quick episode, but really I just wanted to touch mostly on state management because, like I mentioned before, I was very reactionary, very knee-jerk, very impulsive with my decision making when I was younger, just because of the fact that I was always playing in reaction to my external environment as opposed to listening to my intuition, listening to, the things that are for my highest good, because I was ignoring those things because my mind was in such a frenzy and a race and so scrambled, which I suspect that most people are with all the, foods that are going into your body that are not healthy, the substances that are so easily accessible for so many people to use, improper, nutrient uptake due to lack of nutrient density in our environment now, poor supplementation, poor sleep, adrenal fatigue, stress, anxiety, worry, all these things are keeping you from your greatest potential. And the only thing that you really need to do for yourself in this lifetime is to work on those things. So then that way you're living in your level of genius, you're living in that level of flow that's going to get you to a place where you're able to create, the mystical in your life, to be able to create the things that are, noteworthy of you feeling great about your accomplishments in your life and who you become as a person. And so you owe it to yourself. Nobody can do that work for you because only you can discover what it is that you're meant to be and what you're meant to do and how you're meant to do it. And this is your opportunity to get to know yourself on a deeper level and eliminate separation from your life, separation from creation, separation from the universe, separation from yourself, and separation from others. When we start dissolving that separation and that limitation that is just purely an illusion, it allows us to really get to the root cause of who it is that we are and why we are the way that we are. So that way we can create more with others and we can start seeing the beauty in every single person who exists on this planet. So without further ado, guys, be sure to check us out at www.drinkraverade.com. We appreciate every single one of you guys who orders our products and supports our mission because it goes so much further than just a product that we're creating. Yes, we create the best product in our market, but also on top of that, we're focusing on human consciousness and expansion because we know that the only way that the world's going to be a beautiful place for everybody is if you are living in your gift and you are healed and you are completely whole in every single way, shape, and form. So be sure to check us out. We're really excited to finish up the year strong. We've got some big announcements coming as well. And yeah, we'll be talking to you guys soon. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Peace.